There is Prashant Beniwal. So, who is an international trainer with almost like 22 plus years of industry experience, and he has trained over more than like 5,000 plus professionals and delivered around like 10,000 hours of training on various tools and technologies, including DevOps. So, without any further delay, I pass on the proceedings to Mr. Beniwal. So, Mr. Prashant, sir, you can proceed with the webinar, sir.
Okay, thanks Manoj. Okay guys, so this is Prashant Beniwal here. As Manoj already explained, I have 20 years of experience, guys, but today's session is not about me, but I would like to give you some insights into how to land into a DevOps job and quite a description of what we are covering as part of the Star Agile DevOps course. So without any further delay, guys, so we will start. So the format of the thing is, guys, I would be taking something between 30 to 40 minutes to kind of set the context around how to land a DevOps job, what all tools, technologies we are covering. Post that, we will leave another 15 to 20 minutes for any kind of questions that you have. But if you have any pressing questions in between, guys, you can raise your hand and I can try to understand, guys. But in general, please use the question window. I would be looking at it right now. We are not taking any questions per se because I have to first set the context, but eventually I would be seeing at the question window and taking a call as to if that needs an answer. So let's start, guys. So it's an interesting topic these days, and industry is heavily trying to go towards DevOps in general, the IT industry. So this diagram, if you ask me, okay, the code, build, test, release, deploy, operate, monitor, plan. This is kind of the phases that any DevOps project should have, and the figure 8 means that it's a continuous process. The whole crux of DevOps is, guys, that it is about the thing that is, it's a continuous thing. You start with a planning phase, you move to coding, you move to build, you test. We will talk about each of these phases and whatever tools, technologies we are exposing. So our course is quite extensive. If you think of all this, guys, only the planning piece, if you ask me, is something which we will maybe touch upon a bit, but anyway, it is very specific to enterprise world, what they are using. So we will start from something like coding and will show you each of the phase all the way to monitoring. Okay, so this is a quick agenda, the introduction, what are the tools we are going to use, and eventually a context around the crux, which is how to land into a DevOps job. And just to give you a further insight into it, something like we have noted few points after giving it a lot of thought as to what would a day in the life of a DevOps practitioner look like, and then we take question answers. Okay, so guys, before we start DevOps, it's good to have at least the context of that, what used to be earlier and what was the problem that DevOps is trying to solve. So if we look at the solution, it is better to first understand the context as to what problem. Okay, so guys, we were in waterfall, okay, at some point of time. Of course, there are still organizations and projects in IT world which are in waterfall. So guys, let me take an example. Okay, I normally give this example in my session also, but I think it's the right point to set the context of waterfall versus agile versus DevOps. I think I have an example of a personal experience, guys. I am, as Manoj said, 20 years of experience. So of course I am whatever age, 45 something, but said that, guys, when I was in my young childhood and in something like, I'm talking about late 90s, the uh, telecom world of India had only BSNL, which is the government player in India, and only landline used to be there. And if you ask me, that landline connection, if you apply the waiting time for that, in general, if it is a classroom kind of a session, I do ask people this question, guys, that what do you think would be the waiting time for such a, getting a mobile connection in those days? It used to be anywhere between 7 years to 10 years, guys. It's unbelievable for many people who may not have seen those days. but said that that was the time frame. So I could very well relate it to that. In that case, BSNL would be something like in a waterfall model where they will take weeks to do planning, designing, building. I don't know whether how much IT system they had, guys, but it's more a context that I want to set versus let's move immediately to today's world, guys. Today's world is very recently I happen to be in Pune in Maharashtra, and I happened to visit Idea Store, which is one of the key player in India right now with merger with Vodafone or before that also. And I was standing in their store, and a kid and a mother comes in the store, and the I think the mother got the kid, which was like 10 years old, a new phone, and they came for a connection. Now, this guy in the store handled the SIM to the mother. Mother gave it to the son. Son put it in the phone, and he was switching it on. So the guy in the shop said, "Man, ma'am, this is going to take around 15 to 20 minutes." And you could see the uncomfort on the kids face as to why is it going to take 20 minutes. Okay, it's too much. And consider of my childhood at the age of 10, I'm talking about 7 years, and still the discomfort was not there for me. Okay, I never felt it's a very long time. So said that, guys, so this is what exactly. So waterfall was a model in which things take very long because there is a defined phase for each of the software development, whether planning, whether designing. So once you finish this stage, you move to next. Now, of course, few years back already companies realized that IT systems cannot be such a bottleneck. So they came up with agile, because in agile the whole philosophy was that development and the testing, and they are not able to talk to each other. Testing starts only after your build is done and development is finished. So they came up with an idea to make joint team between, designing, building and testing. But unfortunately, what problem it caused, that of course things started getting developed faster using whatever scrum, what they call sprint of 2 to 3 weeks. But said that, guys, in all this somehow the operations guys were left out. Okay, and what happened because of which, so agile solved a problem partially to quite some extent, where whatever was such a long phase in a waterfall and thing, they were trying to make things faster, get developed and be ready for production. But said that, guys, because in this whole of things, operations means the team which is kind of looking at your production, or is all the processes up or not, and taking care of any kind of upgrades in the release application, all that. So that team is very worried about stability, because we know, guys, 1 minute system are down these days, there is so much of hue and cry, and Facebook and Instagram people will, and Twitter, things will go like, haywire, like things that there is something sky has fallen. So stability is of utmost importance. So agile could not solve that. So how did DevOps trying to solve it? DevOps came up with a philosophy that why have 3 weeks cycle or 2 week cycle or 1 month cycle for your development and then getting things ready. They thought that we would make everything very, very small. Every source code change technically, if you want, can go through the whole pipeline of so-called DevOps development and reach production, maybe without any manual intervention. But again, guys, DevOps is a journey which any company has to take. It's not a quick fix solution to everything, every problem that you face, because it has its own challenges, which we will try to touch upon. Okay, but with this, let me just see if there are any questions, at least on this, because we will be unmuting everybody and taking questions more there. But any pressing questions which I can take right now from the question window on this topic, let me see. Okay, some people said, guys, I'm not able to hear the audio, and also, guys, a quick hand of confirmation would be good to just let me know if things are okay. Okay, so one question from Akshay: Agile won't wait for long for deploy. So Akshay, I'm not sure whether that's a question or that's a comment that you have, but let me try to take it up. I agree, guys, this diagram could have slide things. I'm not saying agile will have these some small blue here, but said that guys, in general, when they are ready after their code, it happens that they still go a bit big bang in production. I'm not saying this diagram is 100% in that sense now when I look at Akshay's comment. So I agree guys, but said that, compare it, this is a clear cut diagram of DevOps where you would have very very small, like basically we will in our course also, in the 36 hours of course delivery, we will show you, and you will also build a pipeline and things will start becoming clear. But guys, the whole philosophy is waterfall was surely the slowest, agile solved the problem, but because in agile normally the operations team, which is your production support team, was not taken into account. So normally the coding and testing happens very fast. But the whole purpose of showing it this way is that in general, even there used to be a backlog of what is called, code ready for production, and it was not going to production and it gets deployed maybe somewhere here. Okay. So for sure, I'm not denying the fact, guys, that agile solved a lot of time problem of waterfall. Let's say waterfall was taking few months, they brought it to weeks, but said that guys, we are in an era, as I gave you an example from telecom world, people are not ready to wait for even minutes in general. So you see that even if you wait for weeks, so what continuous deployment or DevOps is trying to solve is that you may keep on deploying new things, because their whole philosophy of DevOps is whatever is painful, do it more often so that it starts paining less. So basically, of course, initial journey of DevOps would be very painful because things will fail, and if things fail, it's going to be a pain for everybody. But eventually, if you smoothen out, automate everything, that is the whole philosophy. If you take one word which I believe I can say from DevOps philosophies, automate everything that you can think of. Okay, that's the philosophy. No manual intervention, because manual means two things. One, there is a possibility of delay, because if the person is not available, anything manual also is very very error prone, right? So in that sense, because there is a human dependency, so I'm not saying as we are removing humans, because remember, whatever are your DevOps tools or technologies that we will use, eventually they need to be maintained, they need to be up and running, whatever they are, otherwise your things will not flow that smoothly to production. So in that sense, guys, with this quick background, we would like to mention some of the tools that we would be covering in our course also, and they are pretty commonly used in industry. So of course, the very first tool, guys, as we said, we will start with coding. So coding we will be using, and industry also heavily uses a distributed version control system called Git. And of course, Git is very much a distributed version control which is localized in nature. So we need some kind of a cloud solution, which could be a GitHub, which could be a GitLab, which could be a Bitbucket, but we need to choose one, guys, because remember, this course is very very hands-on, very less presentation. You will see, guys, I am as a industry experience and let's say means a trainer for quite a number of years. My courses, the feedback is always that they don't see much of presentation and it is very hands-on, and so I love that feedback, because this is what I believe the learning is when we try things out with our own hand. Of course, we will guide you during the course, and later on also we will be sharing those things, but said that, you will see in the course there will be a lot of exercises that you will be asked to do. You need to practice all these tools. Okay, and we would be using some kind of a cloud platform. We will talk about all that, but said that, as we are taking a sample program, guys, because we would like to do the whole flow of CI/CD, which is called continuous integration development, whatever it is, that is the flow that we would like to do in a Unix or a Linux environment. So we will be have to pick up some. So we are not saying you need to be a Java expert. Even people who don't know Java can attend this course, but said that on purpose, guys, we have created a very very basic program of Java, which is kind of a web application, which could be, maybe just as simple as hello world or something, doesn't matter, but we will make it flow through the whole, because the whole purpose of the session is we would like to expose you through hands-on all these tools. So next comes, once you write the code and you are doing source code management of it, doesn't matter the technology, whether it is Java, whether this is .NET, C hash, Perl, Python, Ruby, but said that we are taking Java, guys. So I will try to give you the industry point of view and also try to explain to you as to what we are covering in the course, okay, the actual content. And then for build, because remember guys, when you write code, normally you have to do something called continuous build in DevOps philosophy. Otherwise also you do build, okay. In Agile, you may do a daily build. In Waterfall, you were maybe doing weekly build as an example, guys. But again, this frequency would depend. Even in Waterfall, there could be weekly build or daily build, but said that guys, the whole philosophy of DevOps says build as soon and fail as soon as possible so that you find your problem. So there would be a continuous build, which means we will show you a scenario which is the best you can do, okay, the fastest, which means you push a single line of code in your source code management. Like there is a requirement which comes to you as a developer, you just create that requirement, maybe one line of code, the text needs to be changed, you push it into Git and GitHub, whatever way we will show you, and your build will get triggered, which means a artifact, a class file of Java, a war file or a jar, whatever guys. But again, I don't want to go there guys, because these are technical jargons which people not from development background may get confused. So I will try to stick to a bit generic in this webinar. So basically what happens as part of build, you have to understand in a layman's term, it is like, you know, when you write code, you have written it in a language like Java or whatever. So you have to convert it into some kind of a, let's say, a product which can be put into a environment and which can run. So basically kind of machine language. So converting that is kind of a build process, and the tool that we would be using is Maven. There are other tools here like Ant, Gradle, but Maven is one of the most popular in industry, so we have chosen that. And as part of build, as I said, guys, DevOps is all about automating everything. So there would be no unit testing manually. Whatever code we write, we would also be showing you how to write unit test case of it. And the tool of choice is JUnit. Because it is Java code, it is JUnit. If it was maybe .NET, it could be NUnit or whatever, but said that depending on your underlying tool technology or the programming language, accordingly you would have some tool. Unit testing, this is a framework of testing. We will expose a bit to it because it again needs Java skills, but said that we will try to expose to you. And next comes the Jenkins, okay. This is the CI tool, okay. CI means continuous integration, guys. So integration here is a slightly misnomer word, I would say, because people coming from IT background will have different, let's say, definitions of integration. In context of DevOps, the CI, which we call it, continuous integration, means the moment you put it in a source code management and you do a build and you get unit testing done continuously, so all that will get triggered from Jenkins, okay, which is the tool. There are other tools like Bamboo, Circle CI and all that, but Jenkins is highly used in industry, so we have chosen this tool. And eventually, of course guys, remember the unit testing is more like a kind of white box testing where you need to know Java class and you need to know variable declarations and everything. You may need to mock things out. But remember, in a real world scenario, once you are done with that phase, there has to be some kind of a integration testing, which means with other modules, with third party interfaces. Let's say like if you have a payment gateway interface, you are doing a orderer thing, okay, in Amazon, so practically you may need to test it with Visa payment gateway and all that. So that kind of a testing, which is considered more using front end like your web application. So we will be showing you a bit of Selenium because it's very popular in industry for testing web application, and as our Java code is eventually a web application, so we would be using maybe a Tomcat to deploy our war, which is the web server that we will use. And eventually we use it either a Firefox or a Chrome driver, web driver mechanism of Selenium to kind of invoke through front end. So this is a different phase of testing than unit testing, which is part of the continuous testing philosophy of DevOps. You keep on testing, and of course, guys, then comes the critical piece of configuration management. Okay, guys, so we have to understand this is a piece which is slightly cryptic. People from infra background may still have some idea about it, but said that, guys, as the DevOps philosophy talks about one team for the whole process, you may not have a dedicated infra team doing things for you. If you need new servers, practically with cloud as your base, you could kind of, on need basis, spin up new virtual machines and get all your software installed. Let's say we are working with Java 1.8, we are working with a Tomcat version 3 whatever 9.35. So all that, you don't need to worry. With tools of configuration management, you can practically have reproduce as many number of machines that you want with your required software. So two popular tools in industry are Ansible and Puppet. A third one which I'm aware of is Chef, is another tool in this era, but we have on purpose kept two tools, guys, because this is quite critical. One of them has a pull mechanism and the other one has a push mechanism. So basically, as the name suggests, guys, pull means you would have like master slave architecture in which the slave would be talking to master and getting changes, while in push, like Ansible, it is like through secure shell, you send whatever software you want to push to your so-called slave or worker nodes. Okay, but again, guys, these are, I'm just very briefly trying to set the context as to what all you would see. Okay, but remember, as the course runs over 36 hours, we would be spending at least 2 3 maybe more hours on topic, depending on how much important it is. So you would be getting these much more details regarding push, pull. So right now, guys, whatever I'm doing, this is not to confuse you all, but just to give you a very high level view, considering a 1 hour webinar where I would like to take questions also. It is important that I just tend to cover. And next comes the, guys, the critical piece which are used for continuous deployment, because it's very microservice friendly. We have Dockers and to manage Docker Kubernetes, guys. So this is based on containerization technology, because remember, in this era where virtual machines was the earlier solution of doing this, but of course virtual machines are still used in, let's say, cloud or in your data centers, but said that when you only need small applications, let's say like in our case, a web service to host hello world website, in that case you may not need a real virtual machine. So a containerized environment helps you, and Docker is very popular in industry because of this. So we thought that we will be covering Docker in lot of details, including its networking, including volume mapping and whatever. Okay, to dismiss, okay. So guys, and eventually, remember guys, once we will cover Docker, you will see that managing individual containers is very tough. So you would need some kind of a orchestration software for containers, because you would like them to be managed automatically. If something goes down, new instance should come up, or if the load balancing is required, which means, like, Amazon suddenly raises a 1 billion sale or whatever, so suddenly the traffic is going to increase. So if it is running on a lot of containers, let's say Dockers, you may need new instances of those containers because there is a lot of load coming. And with underlying cloud to help you, it could happen that you may spin up new machines and kind of keep on running new instances, and eventually once the sale is over or the traffic is down, you could bring down these. So you would not like to do it manually. So that's the reason you would be doing Kubernetes, which is one of the, again, it's relatively complex tool, but we are taking this challenge on ourselves, how to give you a simpler version of it, at least to start with it, guys. And eventually the final phase that we would be covering is continuous monitoring, because remember, the DevOps philosophy says the moment you push. So I would like to show you this, guys. This is a much better picture. it's a picturized form. So it's the same thing, guys. So in development, we are using Java, Git, GitHub. In build, we are using something like Maven, JUnit. So we have Apache Tomcat, we have Selenium, we have Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Puppet, and eventually Jenkins, which is running all of these. And eventually there's a continuous monitoring happening tools in Nagios, because remember, when things are deployed in production, either through Docker and Kubernetes managing, and maybe so you would like to monitor and give the feedback, because it is all about how to complete this 8, right? So if you remember this 8, guys, so these are very much phases: code, build, test, release, deploy, operate, monitor. So we have Git here, GitHub here, we have Maven here, we have JUnit here, we have also Selenium here for different phase of testing. For release, you could have maybe Jenkins, which is doing release, creating war. We may use Tomcat. For deployment, we will use Docker. For operate, maybe Kubernetes is here and Nagios is here. So you can see we are fairly covering a full so-called CI/CD pipeline. So you see, guys, CI mean whole of this process, means the moment you push or do some changes in your code, you would be getting automatically build, which would be getting automatically unit tested, and it would be maybe released to some kind of a Tomcat, from where a continuous test may pick it up and deliver it to further stages of production, or your UAT may do a automation testing through, let's say, the front end, like a Chrome or a Firefox if it's a web application, and eventually using configuration management, you may deploy them on Dockers and use Kubernetes to manage. And while all this is running, a tool like Nagios would be monitoring your things about this. So guys, this is a quick overview of what all the tools are being covered here. Let me see if there are any questions on this part, which I need to take right now, and I will move forward to the next topic. So let me see the questions. Okay. Uma says, I'm working as a project manager. How good is to go with DevOps? So guys, it's okay, Uma Maheshwara. So guys, I think this course is for everybody, because it exposes you to all these, and eventually whatever you are doing, even if you don't do coding, this would help you get the overview of the DevOps, and eventually if your project starts doing it, you will have a fairly good idea about it. So I think this is a very good course in that sense. Vidyanand says there are many existing applications which are on legacy systems, and deploying changes in legacy applications just can't go without any outage. How can DevOps helps in such deployment? So again, Vidyanand, we have to see, depending on if it's a legacy application and it is monolith in nature, then maybe a Docker cannot be used, but you could still use something like Puppet. So guys, depending on the tools, technologies, you have to see. But again, guys, when you move from waterfall to DevOps, it's not just about tool, because they say it's a lot about mindset change and also updating your technology stack. And that is why I said, guys, it's a long journey. It's not just a process which you change and you will become DevOps. So Vidyanand, you need to get exposed to this and accordingly find opportunities. Okay, Dayanand says, myself Dayanand, my question is, in SAP, we normally follow ASAP methodology, which is nothing but waterfall. How this journey maps with Agile? So Dayanand, I'm not sure. I've tried to explain. I think this question was asked long back, so I didn't see it. So I think I've already tried to cover it. And Tushar says, does testing is hampering in all this agile DevOps world? So I say, Tushar, I don't think it is hampering in any way, but said that, guys, everybody who has to do their piece, okay, which means out here, if you see, tester would be either doing maybe a JUnit or mostly Selenium. The ops guys or the infra guys would be working maybe Ansible, Puppet. The DevOps engineer job is to see to it that all this pipeline, that means the flow, is working fine. Okay, so in that sense, when we will talk about it, things will become clear. Nikhil, sorry, Tushar. Nikhil says DevOps eliminates operations team. So no, surely Nikhil, this is not the case. Of course, said that, guys, when you create a DevOps team, you would have representation from all the teams, including ops, and the boundaries become very blurred, because that is the whole philosophy of DevOps, that you should understand what others are doing. And if you can do that also, some to some extent, some debugging and all, and help, I think that is the philosophy, but nowhere one person can learn all these tool technologies to the detailed required. So we are surely not asking eliminating anything, okay, in that sense. But yes, the boundaries become very blurred, I would say. Okay, Kapil says, what should do DevOps, developer integration team, release management team? Okay, Kapil says, who should do DevOps? So I'm not sure, Kapil, what's the question? But guys, DevOps is a decision which is taken by a project to go in that way. And remember, guys, the whole philosophy of DevOps is not that you would like to go to DevOps because it is the buzzword, okay? If your current processes, whether they are agile, waterfall, doesn't matter, Kanban, Scrum, whatever you are following, if they are not able to meet your demand of from your customer, whoever is your customer, saying that you take too long, and if you want to move things faster to deployment or production, that is where a DevOps is going to help you. Now, how much, if you start deploying once a week, are you DevOps? Or if you deploy once a day, are you DevOps? Is not a definition that anybody can define, guys, because remember, the whole reason for going there is business. Okay, so whatever is the requirement from business to take, which means that if they want a fix in 1 week, you should be able to deploy it in 1 week. Of course, 5 days is better, but said that, that's why it's a continuous improvement process. Perry says, how much coding do we need to use in real world projects? So Perry, you have to understand, we are talking about IT projects. So remember, at the heart of the system, there would be code only, which is getting built, which is getting released, which is getting tested, and which is getting deployed. So I would not like to say how much of coding do we need to use, but said that to use these tools, you don't need to know the underlying code. Okay, you could use these tools without knowing Java, like some of the tools, like not Selenium, because Selenium you may write in Java. Java itself you will write in Java, but if you want to develop a new flow in Maven using Jenkins, you could do that using Jenkins front end. Okay, so in that sense, I hope that answers your question, Perry. And okay, guys, we will take more questions. Let me try to cover 2-3 more slides which are critical. So guys, this is a question which comes to everybody's mind, and it is the main agenda for the day, which means how to land into a DevOps job. So of course, you need to have a very good picture of your whatever is your application development process, because then only you can kind of, let's say, help team move to DevOps. So you have to have a good understanding of what is your current development process, whatever is your domain knowledge that you are trying to enter into. That is very much required, because let's say if it's a telecom world versus if it is a financial world, things could be very different. There could be some manual steps due to legal restrictions in banking or whatever, or some kind of a financial restriction or the guidelines. You need to be accordingly aware, because you would not, those steps, it may not be possible to automate. Again, having a complete picture of your whatever is your build process, release, deployment, all that is very important. Having some kind of debugging skills. So we will try to expose to you to each of these tools to some extent, guys, but remember, it's a 36 hours course. There is a long journey of learning that you have to do outside this course. Whatever we expose you to, this is a very good stepping stone for you, but said that on top of it, you have to practice, 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 and build. Because remember, guys, we are working totally with open source tools. That is the reason, so that you all can install it. We will mainly be using some kind of a cloud. We will talk about it towards the end, so that you can have your own virtual machines. You can practice as much as you want without paying any kind of a licensing fee. But said that, guys, when you go to cloud, you have to be responsible. Again, DevOps in general is all about collaboration between different people, different teams having different responsibilities. So that is one skill which you surely need to have. That's not a skill just for DevOps. In general, in any kind of a world, to do job, you need to collaborate. Automating everything, that should be in your mind as a DevOps practitioner, that I would like to automate whatever manual things we see, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is deployment, whether it is release process. You have to find ways to automate, because as I said, guys, the key is automation, because that only helps you save time. No dependency on somebody coming, not coming to office, on vacation, and very less error prone. But said that, guys, any script, any tool that you have, remember, it's not that it will, of course you can script it, but there could always be reason for failures. Your memory goes down, your server goes down. So there is very active monitoring. So very next slide is about that only. And one technology which I always say is, guys, please learn cloud. Now, cloud is a very open-ended word on purpose. I have kept it that way because people ask me this question, guys, which cloud should I learn? I know, guys, three main players: AWS for Amazon, and GCP by Google, and Azure, Microsoft, and there are few other private players also. But said that, guys, it depends which company you are joining. There are hybrid cloud, which is a new thing coming and all that. So we are not covering that piece, but this is one piece, because remember, you may not want to stick to just one cloud. You may put something in your own cloud, something in your local. So, but still, this is one critical knowledge that if you have, the better it is. And of course, getting any kind of certifications, because remember, if your resume has some kind of a certification, it doesn't mean that just that certification will land you into a job, but said that it kind of gets your resume highlighted, gets you shortlisted, and of course eventually you need to clear whatever number of rounds of interview and convince the interviewer, which is anyway a skill, which is, of course, we can try to expose you to these tools, technologies, but it depends on whatever they will ask. And more or less the final slide, guys, from my side, which is what all a DevOps practitioner may do in a day-to-day life. Okay, so on normal basis, guys, at least that's my opinion after doing a lot of research. This question has been coming from multiple batches that I have taken. So I have tried to create some bulleted points, and of course, Star Agile helped me with it. So we have come up. So guys, in general, we believe that monitoring your whatever we have discussed, right? Continuous integration, which means your Git, GitHub, whenever they get Jenkins, so-called job, which is triggering Maven, which is triggering Selenium, JUnit. So many things running. So any kind of error happening in that is the prime responsibility, at least to raise the flag. But said that, guys, even the raising the flag is automated through notifications. But said that at times, guys, we have seen, let's say in automation world also, a test case could fail because of problem with the application or problem with the script itself which was executing, because there is something wrong with that script. Earlier it used to work. So in that case, it depends. So the automation job is, the person's job is also to kind of keep them updated. So same way, your Jenkins configuration or whatever is your CI tool needs to be updated. And I think that is one of the major tool. And that is why even in our training, you will see that we have kept Jenkins at the heart of everything, because that triggers more or less everything. Okay, again, updating any kind of configurations or creating new flows is something that a DevOps practitioner may need to do on not daily basis, but at least depending on, if a new environment gets provisioned, which is exactly the next point, which is about, managing your servers on which your DevOps flow is running. Because remember, guys, as DevOps, it's not that you will write the code most probably. Okay, some person who has hardcore Java, Spring Boot, whatever is the framework they will put, but you should know Git where they have put. You should know how to clone that, or at least how to invoke that through Jenkins. So we will see all that, guys, in general, what a DevOps person should be doing. And of course, we will expose you to Puppet, Ansible, in the way that if a new server needs to be configured, you can write configuration files using YAML or whatever, playbooks. So a lot of concepts we will cover. So it's a heavily technical course with lot of jargons, but we will try to keep it very simple and no kind of pre-experience required, and we will explain anything. And of course, maintaining any servers on which especially your DevOps flow is running. And in general, the last one is one of the most important, guys, because remember, these tools have a very active community support. From most of them are open source, and lot of new versions, new features keep coming, which are for the betterment of the tools. So as a DevOps engineer or a practitioner, you would be mostly looking at these tools and seeing which one to upgrade, because sometime a upgrade may not have a what we call backward compatibility and things could fail, but still you may need to upgrade with some updates in your existing configurations and all that. So practically, guys, this is the gist of it that I had to cover. And the next slides are from the Certification side, who will benefit? Of course, anybody with whatever they are doing, whether they are software developers, whether they are project managers, architects, some kind of operation support, which means production support people, deployment engineers, any kind of IT managers. And as I already explained, guys, prerequisite practically actually nothing, but said that, guys, because the course is quite hands-on and we primarily use Ubuntu 18.04 LTS on GCP platform, so knowing Linux is always good, and some kind of a web development, software development life cycle, in the sense there is a source code, there is a build process, there is a artifact which comes out of your build, which gets deployed in some kind of environment, which runs, and a Firefox gets invoked, Selenium. So having a knowledge of that helps. And more or less, guys, we are very much on time. This is the main course features. You have 100% money back guarantee and lifetime access to recorded sessions of the training. There is a post program support. You will be part of getting any kind of doubts gets cleared. And trainer with, okay, it's mentioned 15, I have 20, but yeah, not as a trainer, guys. I was a software director of testing in a company till this Jan. I have become trainer only 4 months back. Okay, practically we are in May, right? Or we have already reached, so kind of 4 to 5 months. And eventually, guys, this is the training batch. This is my name, Prashant Beniwal, and it's 9:30 to 1:30. So let me see, guys, the questions which are coming, because for any queries related to this, you can connect on these numbers. These will be shared with you also. So we are open to, let me see if there are any more questions here. Okay, guys, a lot of questions here. So first, guys, let me see. I will be taking some questions from here, and then I will unmute in another 2-3 minutes so that people can ask the question. Okay, because I would like to interact with people. Suman says, so you are going to touch base all these things. Yes, Suman, not only touch base, we will try to create a whole flow, and I will create it during the class, and you will also be creating in parallel, at least during the class or later on, so that by the end you also have a full running flow of so-called continuous integration deployment pipeline using all these tools. So Nikhil says, in DevOps, there is no concept of manual testing. So Nikhil, manual testing has been there since ever. You don't need DevOps for it. But remember, guys, I have seen a lot of projects trying to go DevOps way, but they could still have some manual testing component because of some reason which is beyond the control. But said that DevOps doesn't say you should have manual. Okay, it says you should have automation, but eventually you are the right judge. Okay, so Santanu says, if I'm not working in DevOps and want to get into a job on that domain, how can I do so, as the training knowledge and little hands-on interview cracking will be difficult because industry wants work experience? So Santanu, this is a very valid question, guys, but it is just like a chicken and a hen thing, right? So eventually I have seen guys moving, because based on your existing job, you somehow get exposed to these tools, try to implement one or two in your projects, at least in a pilot mode, so that you can put in your resume and eventually kind of show it as a work experience, guys. But said that, that's a question which beyond no course can solve that for you. If somebody says you have to have working experience, you have to get it in your existing job only. What else can I say? Of course, people have convinced in general if they want to, with of course the knowledge. And whether there is any job offering assistance after completing the training. Okay, so guys, for that you can contact with the Star Agile. The numbers are mentioned here. Pavan says, is DevOps a methodology or something more? Can DevOps be followed without tools? So yes, Pavan, I can say, just for the sake of answering this question, I'm not saying that you would become or your project would become DevOps only if it uses all these tools, but said that, guys, these tools enable you to automate everything. If you can automate them through some other means, okay, let me say as an example, rather than using, let's say, Puppet or an Ansible to do some kind of deployment, you could use a basic shell script as an example. Now, if you have automated and there is no manual intervention, that is what uh, DevOps may require, because DevOps says make things go faster. But again, if you will use these tools, they are meant for this, making it faster. They get version controlled and all that. So all that comes very easily. So uh, what is Jenkins used for? So guys, Jenkins is used for integrating everything. It's the main CI tool which will kind of invoke everything, as I said. So it will be talking to Git, it basically GitHub, it will be talking to Maven, it will be talking to Tomcat. So we will show you how, guys, but that's the heart of the system which is running. Mayuk says, is this applicable for all DevOps like Azure DevOps also? Yes, guys. So DevOps is DevOps. It's talking about that you automate all this, but if you will do it in Azure, it may have its own tools on Azure platform. There is AWS DevOps. They will have their own tools, but concept would be very similar there, guys. But said that because they are hosted solutions by those cloud providers, I cannot say that with this you will get 100% of those, but said that at least the concepts would be the same. Shantanu says, what else will be covered? So I've already covered everything that we needed to. Isha, does this tie into product management? I move to that role. So yes, Isha, if you are trying to do a product management of a team which is trying to move to DevOps, it surely will help you. But if they are still on waterfall, maybe it can help you improve processes within waterfall, because I'm not saying Jenkins cannot be applied in a agile or a waterfall. Okay, it can be applied anywhere. Perry says there are developers and testers. So what is DevOps team doing? Are they writing the code and writing the Selenium test script? No, Perry, I would not say they are writing that, but it may look very simple here in this flow that just write something in Jenkins and Jenkins will do all this for you, guys. It doesn't work that way. There is a lot of configurations that you need to do, lot of problem will come. So those debugging, keeping it up and running, which need some knowledge of what is the underlying technology, but said that the job profile is very different. It's not that they would be writing code or writing test script, but yeah, depending on the company and the project, there could be project which somebody who has been writing Selenium code also starts managing DevOps, but that's a different story. Mayuk says, how is it different from each other? So I'm not sure, Mayuk, it is related to which thing. Pankaj, I'm 12-year experience in IT mainframe operation with ITIL framework. Currently, I work as IT. I would like to adopt DevOps and like to make career, but no industry experience in DevOps. And also do not have experience in Java. Will it help me to take opportunity in DevOps? So yes, Pankaj, as I explained to you, you will get with this 36-hour course, like I will not say 100% of all these tools, but said that you will get some at least exposure to all this, will get some hands-on, you will dirty your hands in these tools, which will, and then it's your call how much more you want to pursue this learning post the certification, and accordingly try for jobs. But guys, work experience cannot be solved by any course. Okay, so that question is very valid. I'm not denying that, guys, but you can talk to Star Agile for more clarification on this. Nanish, are these tools cloud based or they can be used without cloud? Yes, Nanish, they can be used without cloud in local. Even let's say most of these can be used in your Windows environment also, but we would be working on GCP cloud throughout. Okay, so that because so that you don't, because if you do it on individual machines, you will get into very different kind of errors and it becomes very difficult to debug. Abhijit says, I am D365 and Azure developer, and of course, I am from .NET background. And DevOps is good for .NET. Yes, it is good for .NET. As I said, it could be Java, .NET, Abhijit. By the end of seminar, would really like to know all the certifications available which are important in the industry. So Yogini, I think for this you can contact with Star Agile and they will let you know. I am not talking about any other certification right now because this webinar was mainly on this course, but said thing I already covered few certification like AWS has a DevOps certification, Azure has a DevOps certification. So these are surely two very popular ones. Mayuk says in SAP we have Salman. Okay, so I'm not sure, Mayuk. I don't know Salman and SAP, so please excuse me for this question. Reddy says, where does Team City fits here? So guys, I'm not very sure what is Team City. So these are very, very specific, guys. The industry is full of tools, technologies. So I don't think I would be able to comment on all of them, guys. Okay. Again, guys, I've taken a lot of questions from here. Let me hear out if there are anything. I would be unmuting people because I've taken most of the questions. I will take more questions if people, guys, please ask questions only if you have something which you have not asked here and I have not covered. I will continue to take questions till then from here. So whoever needs to ask a question on the call can ask, as we have still 10 more minutes. Yeah.
Prashant, this is Mayuk. one
Yes,
very important thing is that after the course, you guys will not provide any certification. We'll need to take a separate certification exam. Is that correct? My understanding correct, Prashant?
I think that's a star agile question. Okay, so I think Manoj, can you answer that question, please?
Yes, sir. So like you'll be getting a certificate from Sarajal. You'll be getting a DevOps engineer certificate.
Okay.
And along with that, a 6 months of experience letter also will be provided to you.
Okay. So Prashant, the next thing is I'm a SAP practitioner.
Uh-huh.
In somebody asked about like SAP, right? SAP,
Yes.
now we have moved to Activate methodology, which is purely agile. So
Mhm,
you can easily use DevOps. And the next you asked me, I had asked two questions where I said
mhm.
about Solman. Solman is nothing but think about you showed something like you can have the configuration management and everything there in SAP world.
Mhm.
And there was another question because there are a lot of questions coming in. I said, how is it different from each other? I'm talking about Azure DevOps or any other DevOps by IBM. How is it different? Is it the tool or the philosophy? I think it's all the same according to me, but is
So guys,
Azure DevOps better than? Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Malik. So I would say philosophy is the same, okay? Because DevOps philosophy is all about continuously building, continuously integrating, continuous testing, continuous deploying, continuous monitoring. So multiple C's.
Hmm. Okay.
Now, how do you achieve that? See, why these people come up with hosted solutions is now which one is better, guys? I would not be like to commenting on is AWS better than Azure, because I looked at Azure DevOps, that has its own few things which I liked, but something which I didn't like, versus AWS DevOps is totally, what these people do. Underlying tools could be very similar to, Jenkins, let's say, but you don't see Jenkins there, okay? They have their own repository concept. Of course you use Git, but you don't use GitHub or GitLab. Instead you use a tool called AWS, something like code commit, but behind the scene it has very similar philosophy. So why these come up with hosted solutions is these providers, because they would like you to bring it on their platform so that you can use their services and they get money out of it, and you don't get through the pain of managing these software, because if you will install all of them yourself in your company premises, you will need to manage the running of that, right? So in that sense, whatever cloud advantage provides, the same thing it would provide in AWS flow.
I got it. I got it. And one last question. Sorry, I'm asking all the
No,
questions.
no problem.
I'm
That's
a
one
SAP,
more question.
I'm a SAP practitioner. So for us,
Mhm.
the language is ABAP. All it's ABAP, and nowadays little bit of Java. So maybe some of the tools may not be applicable, isn't it right?
So see, I agree. If you are, I'm not sure, guys. I'm not a SAP person. I didn't have experience of it, but one of my friend in SAP was telling, see, guys, this is a philosophy which will apply to any environment, okay? But said that, like tool like Maven may not apply if you are not using something which is not supported by Maven. If you are
Sure.
using .NET, you will use something like, MS Build or something. Instead of JUnit, you will need to use NUnit. But the philosophy or the process is automation of building, automation of testing and everything. So the tools will change underlying, because if the technology changes, you may need to change your tool if that tool doesn't support it. But said
Sure.
that, it should be, your possibility should be automate whatever you can so that things reach faster to production. That is the whole philosophy which DevOps says.
Sure. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Prashant.
Okay,
Hi,
thanks.
Prashant.
Yes, please.
Hi, hi, Prashant. This is Ajit. Yeah, I
Hello.
have a
Ajit,
question.
Hello, my
please
Yeah,
go
name
ahead.
is Raj. Who is someone else is asking?
So
yeah,
Ajit is asking is, after that we will take your question. Who's this, by the way, the other person saying?
Me?
Yeah.
My name is Raji. I'm from New Jersey. I'm speaking from New Jersey.
Yeah, Raji. So just give a minute to, we'll take
yeah,
Ajit and then we will take your question. Ajit, please go
Sure,
ahead.
yeah,
sure.
yeah, Prashant. Okay, thanks, Prashant. So, I mean, in my project, basically, we have a lot of COTS product, basically the commercially of the self kind of products, right? And where, as part of delivering solution to customer, we usually do very less coding, and most of the time it is like, configurations. The products are designed in such a way. So, in this scenario, can we adopt DevOps?
See, why not? Anything you are doing manually, the configurations.
Yeah.
So those also you have to, if you ask me technically, you have to think to automate. But again, it's a blanket statement I'm giving because I'm not aware of which COTS you are running, because I'm not an expert on all these COTS tool also. But said that, I think these tools in general are very generic in nature and they can help you do whatever you need to automate. But said that, guys, whether they will apply to your specific project technology or not is something which you have to find out, because it's tough for me to give answers on any tools technology you suddenly come up with, because I don't know all these tools technologies, okay, which you are working on. I can surely explain you these, but
Yeah.
we are working with one particular tool technology.
Yeah, no, typically, no, these are like, mostly GUI based, where we do the configuration, open certain window, and then do the configuration. So that itself serves the purpose. So in similar kind of a situation, I mean, can we adopt something, I mean, using
See,
DevOps?
I believe so. In general, I've not seen too many places where DevOps cannot do something else, because remember, it's not about whole DevOps. Okay, you have to see individual tools, what advantage they are getting, and if they are applicable to anything of yours, you could just implement those tools to make things faster. Your final aim may not be DevOps. Okay, who says you have to implement like 3-4 tools out of these just for to get better synergies between the team or automating something? Okay, so if you achieve that, whether you wanted to go DevOps or not is something that's not that important from that point. Okay, in that sense, so you have to take a call.
Okay, maybe the
Okay.
testing part we can automate, right? I mean, that
Yes,
is what probably
testing.
you're
Yeah,
trying
if
to.
it's a web application, you can automate, or deployment part somehow. If you are automating, you may apply through Ansible, Puppet to deploy your applications or install your COT software through them, whatever way you have been doing manually on new servers, if that is your need. Okay, as an example.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Prasad.
Okay, yes, Raji, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, I have been working in IT field for many years, and I have come up from programming to, system administration, networking. Finally, ended up in project management, and I've been having a lot of experience in everything, and worked for many companies. But right now, I have taken like a 2-3 years of break due to some family problems. So now I want to get back. And I want to go back to this kind of a coding, this kind of environment than actual project management. Is there any way I can transition to this type of field? Anybody will help me do that? Even I don't mind taking a couple of certifications, but how much it helps, I don't know.
So Raji,
To
I have explained you
transition,
what would be, yeah.
transition, huh? What?
Yeah, I understand your question, Raji, but said that I have explained you what all will happen in that course and what all tools technology we will covered. But eventually, if you want to transition and if you happen to be in the US, of course, maybe Star Agile can take this question as to what more help they will be providing. But as an instructor, I am explaining here what technical we are covering.
Pardon me?
So it's a question more for Star Agile, what other helps you will be getting. So Manoj, please go ahead, because I have told you what all will be covered. Manoj,
Hi,
you are
ma'am. This
there?
is Manoj. Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, ma'am, may know what are the queries you have? Like, what all support you need actually?
Okay, so can we talk offline? Is it possible?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
that
we
would be
don't take
possible.
much of, we don't have much time.
Sure.
I need to talk and see how
Yeah.
much can you help, because
I'll give you a
like,
call. I'll give
yeah,
you a call.
yeah,
I'll give
yeah,
you a call immediately.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I think any last questions, because we are already on the verge of the
Yeah.
ending. So any last?
Yeah, Prashant,
Hello.
this is Nikhil.
So this
Yes, Nikhil, go ahead.
Yeah, I am from testing background. I have more than 12 years of experience in testing, and I'm aware of Agile as well. Like I'm a certified Scrum Master, but still this DevOps concept is relevant to me. Can I still
Why not?
enter
If
into?
you see, Agile is Agile. This is complementing Agile. So I believe somebody who knows Agile, it's actually a upgradation of the skills in that sense, Nikhil.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
so
This is
I
Agile.
have one last question. I have one
Yes, please.
question. Yeah. So currently in our project we are using the Azure DevOps. Okay. So can we say that these tools are the replacement of Azure DevOps for .NET application?
No, why? Azure DevOps itself supports .NET applications. Why would you move out of Azure DevOps? I'm not very sure. Till Azure DevOps is not solving your purpose and you want to have an in-house solution, I'm not sure why would you be coming to these tools, because Azure supports .NET. They are anyway Microsoft.
Yes, right, right.
So Azure very much supports .NET, and even AWS supports .NET. Okay, that's not a problem. So I don't think you will come out of a hosted solution of cloud because you're underlying, because they support all tools, technologies in general. That's not a problem. But if you want a hosted solution, remember that hides a lot of complexity for you, and you don't need to manage. These tools exposes you to them so that you know, it's like, you know, what's going under the hood. That is what we are
Okay.
trying to understand. Not like we just, there it's just like driving the car, and out here it's like we also open a bit of hood and see what's going on inside.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, Prashant. Priya here. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I was basically into DevOps domain a 3 years before, but I was more into the automation like Selenium framework. From there, we do a basic deployment, and it goes on and on. For the past 3 years, I have moved to the different project where I've been handling the API testing automation. Okay, so just completely slightly out of the DevOps where I want to reminisce myself back to it and learn all those things back and get into DevOps. So how do you think about it going further, getting back to the DevOps again?
I think it's if you have been in connection with APIs and in past you have been doing Selenium, I think for you the learning curve should be slightly less than somebody who has never done it. So I think it's the right direction to think. But said that taking up a full-time job, how soon you can transition, that will depend on how much you learn over and above whatever we tell you, because we would be surely exposing you to all this, but rest of the learning, guys, still is yours to do.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, okay.
Okay, guys, I think we are done with the session. Thank you for your time, and see you on the session, whoever joins it when it starts. So thank you, guys. It was very nice interacting with all of you, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Yes, we are ending the webinar. So Manoj, anything else from your side?
Nothing, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much for everyone for attending the training. So for any
Okay.
further queries, you can just reach out to Star Agile. We will be there to assist you in future.
Yes, guys. Okay. Thank you.
So you
Okay.
can reach out
Bye-bye.
to Mr. Narayana or Mr. Prani. So they'll be there to assist you. Thank you, Prashant, sir, for the wonderful webinar. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.